So in today's video, we're back in Fisk, and I'm going to be going over the top 5 mistakes beginners make. Okay, so the first mistake I'm going to be going over is wasting money on useless things. Okay, so in this game, there's plenty of things you can buy, like rods, bait, bobbers, lanterns. That's just all the stuff you can get immediately, like right off your equipment bag. There's way more you can buy in this game, like totems. There's just so many different things you can buy in the game. And I feel like beginners tend to buy useless things. Okay, so what I would say is to only buy things you're actually going to use. Like most of the time, if you're a beginner, don't buy totems. Like you don't need totems. And if you're a beginner, you should not be trying to get a Megalodon by using sundial totems to spawn it. So don't buy sundial totems. I just don't think you should buy any like totems in general as a beginner, because you should be trying to get better rods and get better at the game. So don't buy any totems if you're going to use your money, which you should only use your money on rods. But I guess you can buy bait if you want, but like I guess buy bait if you really feel like you need it, but you don't really need bait if you have a decent enough rod. Like the Arctic rod is pretty good, like honestly, so you might not need bait. But I don't know, there's plenty of good beginner rods, but yeah, just I don't know if you need bait, but just don't like overthink about getting bait or anything. And then lanterns, do not buy this as a beginner. These are all just like for accessory. Like there's definitely some better lanterns, like the fairy one I think might give you more light. I'm not entirely sure, but don't waste your money on lanterns as a beginner. It's just a waste of money, especially if you're trying to get like the fairy. You're gonna end up spending like 100,000 trying to get the fairy. It's not easy to get the fairy. It's like the rarest one. So don't waste your money on lanterns. And most bobbers, like they are free by just completing bestiaries and stuff like that. So you aren't gonna waste your money on bobbers, but pretty much the only thing I would say you should be spending your money on is rods. Just buy rods, and buy rods that are useful. Don't waste your money on rods that are useless. Okay, and on to the second thing. Okay, so the second thing I'm going to say is that beginners, they tend to not use the Arctic rod. Okay, so not everybody knows about the Arctic rod. So some people may know about it, but not everyone. So if you're a beginner, I feel like you should be using the Arctic rod because it's like the best beginner rod. There are definitely other beginner rods that aren't that bad. Like the carbon rod is probably the first rod you should go for, but then after the carbon rod you should probably go for the Arctic rod, or you can I guess go for a rod in between them then go to the Arctic rod. But most of the beginner rods are pretty not like good compared to this at all. Like I think they messed up the stats on this, but the Arctic rod is like the best beginner rod. So if you aren't using the Arctic rod as a beginner, I feel like that's a huge mistake you're making, and you need to be using the Arctic rod. Because look, the Arctic rod has 45% lure speed, 65% luck, 0.18 control. This is the real like big seller right here, is the control and the resilience. 15% resilience, 0.818 control. This is like basically a weaker Heaven's rod. Like the Heaven's rod, let me go find it real quick. Look, 30% resilience and 0.2 control. Like this is barely weaker than it. And then it comes with 80,000 max kg. So if you're a beginner, you should 100% be using the Arctic rod, and you're making a big mistake if you're not using it. And if you don't know how to get it, what you need to do is you need to go to Northern Expedition, and it should be the first rod. Like once you go through the portal and get to the actual like place, it should be the first rod at the bottom. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it's pretty easy to get the Arctic rod. It's not that hard to get. Like you can't do it right off the bat, but you can get it pretty quickly, and I really recommend to get it because I feel like it's going to be a huge mistake if you don't. And the next thing I'm going to go over is buying rod skins. Okay, so this is kind of back onto wasting money, but not entirely because I didn't really go over it. Okay, so not everybody uses rod skins, but the people who start the game, I feel like tend to like see the rod skins. Like it's right like on Moosewood. Let me just head over there real quick. Okay, so I just got to Moosewood, and this is what I mean by people tend to like see the rod skins and then like buy them. Okay, so when people see the rod skins, like they might just tend to buy them because they might think it's an actual rod. Like this one I think is a skin for the Destiny rod or the Phoenix rod, not for the Heavens rod. But yeah, people might think they're actual rods, but if you do actually see it, it says he's the skin merchant, and all these technically none of these say that they are skins. So that's probably the problem. That none of these say they are skin. So if you don't notice that this says skin merchant right here, then you're not gonna like know that it's a skin. And it costs the same amount to buy the first skin crate as the Arctic rod. So if you end up wasting your money on that, that's gonna set you back a lot. You should buy the Arctic rod 100% instead of wasting your money on a rod skin. Rod skins are pretty much useless, and the only rod skins that are usually worth it are the ones like Rod the Depths, Heaven's rod skin, and stuff like that. Maybe trying rod skin, probably not trying rod skin that much anymore, but yeah, it's pretty much just like rods you're gonna use like until you get like the no life rod and all the craftable rods. So there's not even much rod skins that are pretty much worth it, and they're pretty expensive. So I recommend not to waste your money on those, because I feel like that's just gonna set you back a lot, especially as a beginner, because you're not gonna have much money. Like I have plenty of money, so if I waste my money on rod skins, it's not gonna set me back anywhere. But yeah, I pretty much don't really care that much about rod skins anyways. So yeah, the next thing I'm gonna go over is not following a rod progression guide. Okay, so some beginners don't know that like most rods are like useless. Like let me show you. Okay, so at Moosewood you come over here and there's like 5 different rods. There's this rod. This rod is oh wait, no, that's not the rod. Okay, this rod is completely useless right here, the training rod. This rod is if you don't know how to play the game. Pretty much it just makes it really easy. But this rod is just gonna waste your money. It doesn't cost much at all, but it's just like when you first join the game, the first rod you probably want to go for is the carbon rod. Like ignore these rods, but when you first join the game, it's really hard to get money. Like if you sell any of the fish from here, they're only worth like what, 20 coins. So like think about it. If this costs 300 and then you just waste your money on that, now you have to get another 300 to get the 2000 rod. So it takes a while to get it. So yeah, I really don't recommend like buying rods like this, and you should follow a rod progression guide. They're not all that good, but honestly, if you just want a quick one, I would say go for carbon rod, go for Arctic rod after that. You could go for something in between if you really think you need it, but like carbon rod, Arctic rod, and then pretty much from there you can go like trident rod if you want. I really wouldn't recommend it though, because it's just kind of hard to get. And then you could just pretty much go from there to like summit rod, and then maybe like Rod the Depths or Heaven's rod. Like it's just a quick one. There's better ones than that, but I was just saying, yeah, just follow a rod progression guide that actually is good. Don't follow bad ones, but yeah. You just want to follow a rod progression guide because there's plenty of useless rods in the game. Like, look, if I go through my inventory, most of these are useless. Like, this was from a code. This rod, the Aurora rod just isn't that good anymore. It was kind of good at the start of the game, but it's not bad, but it's just not that good anymore. Avalanche rod is complete garbage. It's just, I think they accidentally did mess it up, but candy cane rod you can't even get anymore. This is another code rod. Fast rod. This rod is completely useless. Do not use this rod. Minus 12% resilience, minus 15% luck. Like you want luck because you're gonna get some really bad fish if you don't have luck at the start of the game. You don't need insane luck, but you're gonna need luck. So minus 15% luck isn't gonna do it. So yeah, there's plenty of bad rods in the game, and you should follow a rod progression guide if you can. If you can't find one, then I don't know, but it should be pretty easy to find one, and I really recommend getting one. And the last mistake I feel like people make is not just having fun in the game. Like, this is a game where you're just supposed to explore and learn and have fun. But I feel like just some people just don't really like just try to have fun. They just try to like get max level instantly, like get as much money as they can. Like, you should be just trying to have fun in this game. And like, yes, the game is a little grindy, so you're not gonna always be able to have fun because you're gonna have to grind in the game, but like you should just be trying to have fun in the game. If you aren't having fun in a game, then you should really just shouldn't be playing it in general. Like, yes, there's gonna be points in this game where it's not gonna be super fun, but that doesn't mean the game is bad. So I think you just should prioritize having fun in this game, and if you aren't having fun, then you should play a different game probably. But I think this is a good game, and yeah, I think some people just don't try to have fun, and that might be a problem. So yeah, it's just gonna kind of ruin some of the people's experiences. But that's all mistakes I'm gonna go over in today's video. So this is gonna end my video. Subscribe to help the channel. Bye.
Hold me close till I get up. Time